Hello, all. My name is Carson Light, and first and foremost, I wanted to thank you all for joining in and watching this and helping me out since I wasn't able to be at residency on Saturday. For my ethical project, I decided to do the topic of advertising to children. The newest and most current way companies are advertising is through social media. Companies pay what are called influencers to promote their products or influence promote their own products. They do this through discount codes and giveaways, or to influence older children, they post photos that receive a lot of likes. Because teens crave acceptance, they are persuaded to buy what they believe will bring them more attention. Influencers promote a wide variety of products ranging from airlines to food and drinks. Today, advertisements are shown based on personal data or data collection. This means if a person were to search for something like cameras online, an ad would most likely pop up about cameras on their social media. Snapchat, Instagram, and Facebook are taking advantage of advertising through stories. When clicking through stories, every 2 or 3, there's an advertisement. This new marketing strategy is used along with the older ways of advertising through TV, radio, print media, the internet, and phones. To demonstrate how much this marketing strategy can influence children, here are some statistics that show how many children use the internet. 94% of 3 to 18-year-olds have internet access. Of this 94%, 88% gain this access through a computer. 4.5 million children ages 0 to 18 are on Facebook. 18.7 million children have an account on Instagram, and 45.6 million children have a Snapchat. Advertising is everywhere, so how could it be unethical? Companies exploit children's naiveness. They also use psychologists to appeal to younger audiences because they understand how children's minds process information and what catches their attention more. Companies also do not care that children don't have money, therefore they are encouraging the use of parents' money. And there is also the use of false advertising, the showing of unsafe products, and the use of data collection, all just to gain a profit. The first unethical issue with advertising to children that I'm going to address is naiveness. Cynthia Barron, the academic director of the digital media program at Northeastern University, says, children often have difficulties distinguishing between reality and fiction. At the age of 2, children begin to recognize familiar characters. So using recognizable characters from cartoons influences them to like or want products more. Companies use this tactic purely for profit. Companies also embed advertisements within games or social media, which alters the ability of children to identify or assess advertising messages and tell reality from fiction, as mentioned earlier. The next ethical issue that presents itself in children's advertising is money control. Although children do not physically have money, they are still considered the most influential consumers. The biggest problem with this is when children begin to act out when they do not get what they want, mostly because parents either do not buy the product or cannot afford to. If a child somehow purchases something within a game or an app and parental controls do not exist or are not on, a parent cannot decline a bill. This is unfair to parents. The next issue involves deceptive advertising. This was bigger during the late 1990s and early 2000s than it is now. Commercials would show a toy flying or standing on its own, but this was seen as deceptive because children cannot comprehend that certain actions cannot be performed by the toy by itself like adults can. Another form of deception is promising better results if a product is used or consumed. Like if a commercial says that if you buy a specific brand of carrots, your eyesight will be better. This is seen as deceptive because this is not 100% true. Unfairness and safety are the most concerning when assessing problems with advertising. Obesity has become huge in the U.S. This could be linked back to commercials or ads to children involving characters that draw them in or that feature unhealthy foods. There are also commercials that show unsafe conditions. These often show children doing things by themselves that an adult should be helping with. Just like deceptive advertising, this issue was prevalent mostly during the turn of the century. For example, in a commercial for Uncle Ben's Ready Rice, a child was cooking by themselves. This showed that children could cook by themselves, which is very unsafe. Social media can be dangerous as well. While most websites require the user to be at least 13 to create an account, they do not check to make sure this information is correct. Since the start of social media, sexual assault cases have increased by 300%, and 41% of teens have had negative experiences online. So what has been put into place over the past years to help with these issues? The Federal Trade Commission, or the FTC, was created to prevent companies from taking advantage of consumers. For advertising, the Federal Trade Commission Act was put into place to prohibit unfair or deceptive practices in advertising. Another product from the FTC is the Self-Regulatory Guidelines for Children's Advertising, which can be accessed on their website so businesses can make sure they are following the law and protecting children. Finally, the Children's Online Privacy Protection Act prohibits unfair or deceptive practices in connection with the collection of personal information or the collection of data. That were put into place. For example, McDonald's introduced a new character named Happy, the Happy Man. He is associated with healthier eating, while Ronald McDonald is not used as much because parents and McDonald's believed that he was more associated with unhealthy eating. Companies also began putting nutrition facts on the back of food boxes for parents to easily compare. Still, advertisements that involve unsafe or unhealthy products are directed toward children, teens, and young adults. Another response made by children's television channels is that they are no longer allowing stars of the program to promote a commercial during the airing of the star-studded program. Social media responded by banning the advertising of tobacco products. Alcohol advertisements now must not target minors. This information can be drawn from data collection. Social media also now prohibits gambling ads, and weight loss products cannot be advertised to children because this can cause eating disorders and bad self-esteem of body image. Pediatricians are pushing for no advertising for children under the age of 7 because, as said earlier, their brains cannot see the difference between fact and fiction. The ethical questions that I'm going to ask you all to engage in, or if you would like to come up with your own, are as follows. Should government agencies like the FTC or social media be able to limit what is posted or published? Do you think that most companies fall into the category of egoists? Why or why not? If not, what ethical type best reflects companies that use advertising directed toward children? The next one is, do you think that there should be more restrictions on what can be used as advertisements, especially for children? And finally, many of the television advertisements directed toward children are on children's television channels. What do you think is the best way to limit this exposure, if it should be limited? I want to thank you all for watching this video and for engaging in my discussion.